The Ajanta Caves are one of the greatest achievements in ancient Buddhist rock cut architecture, dating from 2nd century BCE to about 480 CE. It is located in Aurangabad district near Ajanta village, famous for its extraordinary wall paintings of Buddhist culture. It is also a UNESCO World Heritage Site among the top 42 present in India. We reached the cave monuments by bus, which took us inside the forest. And just after a few minutes later, we could see Ajanta Caves clearly. Ajanta Caves are 30 in number, including the unfinished ones, out of which 5 caves, cave number 9, 10, 19, 26, and 29 are Chaityagrihas, that is, temple or sanctuary, and rest are viharas, that is, monastery.
We are finally at Ajanta and you can see the caves behind. We are just gonna go inside and see what's inside.
The paintings of Ajanta narrates a complete story while moving in a half-circle format. This way of painting style is called Ardh Chakra style, which generates curiosity among people. At first, we are going towards the cave 1. Buddhism is majorly divided into two sects, Mahayanas and Hinayanas. Mahayanas are the ones who encourage idol worship of Buddha, while the Hinayanas simply claim Buddha a man who found a way to nirvana, hence, no idol worshipping. Jataka stories talk about the past life of Buddha. A non-enlightened Buddha is called Bodhisattva. There are 547 stories in Indian literature and 555 stories in Sri Lankan literature. They were documented in Sri Lanka in 100 AD, and 400 years later they were painted on the walls of Ajanta. On the walls of cave number 1, the story of the king leaving the materialistic world to become a monk is present. These stories were painted for the travelers so that they should have the essence of Buddhist philosophy through pictures. If we think about why pictures, then changing languages in India is quite frequent among people, and hence pictures were the only way to convey their message. We can find images of male and female wearing same jewelry, which means wearing jewelry was a trend for both the genders at that time. This is an image of a king having his bath while two attendants are pouring water over his head. We can see his drenched hair, but the interesting fact here is the 3D painted pillars, which means three-dimensional paintings were available in that era. This here is the famous painting of Ajanta called the Padmapani Bodhisattva. In Indian sculptures, beauty lies in the facial expressions and body language. Here, the portraits are introvert in nature, vice versa of the Greco-Roman extrovertic nature. Hence, we can say that our sculptures are spiritual in nature. Now, let's move towards the cave number 2. How did they painted the walls? They probably used copper metal mirrors, reflected sunlight, and in that reflection, they painted the walls, as mirrors were costly at that time. Also, due to the urine of bats, many Buddha paintings are lost. In this picture, the style of designed socks with matching turbans shows the trade culture of Indo-Romans, due to which it was important from there. Once Mahamaya, mother of Lord Buddha, saw a baby elephant in her dream, and thus priests were called to interpret her dream. Shuddhodana and Mahamaya were told that they will have a baby and the baby will either be a king or will turn into a monk, and the whole story is painted here. Size of a monastery or a temple depends on financial capacity of the donor. In Ajanta, there are 108 inscriptions found till date, out of which 50% talks about donations given by merchants and monks. And as monks were a major donor, god of money Kubera is also seen with his wife. He is hence given a place even in Buddhism as Jambhala. So importance of economy in religious domain is not something that we can deny. So here Kubera is seated with his wife. Below we can see a school where a school teacher is sitting in a corner on a stool with a stick. Some sincere students are following and writing, while behind some backbenchers are fighting. Hence, the child psychology doesn't change anywhere till date. Now we will move towards the fourth cave. This cave is the largest half complete cave. In total, there are 15 incomplete caves. They are divided into 7 half complete caves and 8 incomplete caves. Difference between them is in a half complete cave, the central statue is always completed, but in the incomplete ones, it's not. This hall can accommodate 300 to 500 sitting monks at a time. In half complete caves, carvings are not done, pillars doesn't stand all the way, many rooms are in chiseled, many statues are incomplete. Below the feet of the statue of Buddha, in script Brahmi language Sanskrit, there is an inscription that Mathura Das the merchant gave money to make the cave. In India, we don't have the culture of subnames. It came with the British. We actually add our names with the location where we were born and brought up. So, here Das represents that he was a merchant and Mathura represents his origin. To make the living viharas, they started cutting like forming a hole at first and then went deeper and deeper to make a square from inside. 70% trade of the Indian merchants was done of metals in that era. They had to give a percentage of their profit to the kingdom and also to the monks. With these, the monks appointed talented artisans to build these structures. The hypothesis says that if 60 artists and 120 workers works in 1:2 constantly, 6 days a week and 8 hours a day, one monastery or temple will take 15 to 20 years to get it completed. Now cave number 5 is an incomplete cave. This primarily used chisel and hammer of different sizes and shapes to cut this mountain from front to back and top to bottom. So basically, it was a three-stage process of unskilled, semi-skilled, and skilled artists working together. In a family of artisans, an apprentice was hired at an age of 8 who remained an apprentice for 6 to 8 years where his job will be to chisel in between a drawing already given. To a semi-skilled level, his job will be to carve the shapes and the final skilled artist was for the touch-ups. Hence, in ancient Indian education system, there was no issue of spending money on training. By the time one was out of his innocence, the product was already a full-fledged product to be used. Now let's go towards cave number 9. Here we can see 39 pillars, but none of them were built for support. Even if they collapse, it won't harm the cave. An interesting fact here is the Buddha was found in different face projections like the Sinhalese, that is the Sri Lankan Buddha, Southeast Asian Buddha, and also Chinese Buddha. This shows that the way the race looks like, they want to project Buddha the same way they look. Here we will also find the inscription of a British Army officer Sir John Smith who first found Ajanta in 1819 and inscribed his name and date on the walls of Ajanta, that is 28 April 1819. Coming towards cave number 10. Cave number 10 is a Buddhist temple of the first sect of Buddhism. They don't worship images of Buddha. The image worship was not present in 100 BC. So all the sculptures and paintings of Ajanta are all later additions when the Mahayanas became dominant. Here, the images are also the later additions. All the parts of pillars having images are real, while rest are cemented added to stop the collapse. This is a Buddhist temple, hence there are no rooms for the monks to stay. In the center is a copy of Sachi Stupa. In Ajanta, there were only 4 operational temples for a population of 1500 monks and nuns to meditate. There's also a possibility of one of those 4 temples to get reserved only for the nuns. Hence, we can conclude that there must be a school-like timetable for them to follow for every particular batches. We can also see 100 BC onwards there's a separation of windows and doors shown by the temple. Before this, the windows and doors are the same. This shows a perfect example how designing goes from simplicity to complexity, also found in the modern day engineering design. Now we are going towards the cave number 12, oldest monastery which dates back to 100 BC. There are brick pillars, which are indicating pillars added in 1980 as an indicator to keep watch on cracks. In 1954, the glasses were added. In case of any minor fluctuations, the glass will crack. There are 12 rooms. Each room has two stone beds, hence 24 monks can stay. In center, there is a hook to tie down an oil lamp. The doors are kept small for the monks, as they were thin and also as a defense mechanism from wild animals. Now let's move towards cave number 16. We lost maximum artworks of this cave due to three major reasons. Water leakage issues. Due to bats as they urinate, its acidic nature destroyed the walls. Before 1960, when there was no supervision over the walls, the visitors peeled off and took small pieces of the wall as souvenirs. Patches of this painting is still seen today in the Museum of Boston. The statue of Buddha is having straight legs rather than folded legs. This is called the Bhadrasana posture. Now here's another story engraved on the walls of Ajanta. It is called Saundarya Nanda. Saundarya was the wife of King Nanda and King Nanda was half brother of Lord Buddha. After 7 years of being a monk, Buddha came to meet his parents where Buddha was officially welcomed by King Nanda as a part of a protocol. On the advice of Lord Buddha, King Nanda became a monk without taking permission of his wife. The attendant of the king comes with the crown of the king to the queen. When she saw this, she was completely shocked as she wasn't consulted. Here she is supported by three lady staff. The lady standing is wearing a skirt, blouse, and long earrings. Queen is not feeling well, so in the balcony, an African nurse and a doctor are consulting things. Interesting to see is that the trend of putting a cap and a scarf in nursing is this old to begin with. In cave number 17, we see lady with a necklace and turban shows her wearing lipstick. Hence, we can say for certain people there was also beauty parlors for them. We can see a lady wearing nail paint and also holding a mirror. It's a story of a white elephant shown here. Once Buddha as a bodhisattva was born as a white elephant with six tusks. He was the king of 5,000 elephants in the forest. At that time, Queen of Kashi desired to make an ivory necklace and so hunters were hired. The hunters set the trap near a lotus pond which was a regular place for the elephants. And so, to save the elephants, the king of elephants came forward and donated his own tusk to the hunters and died the very moment. The hunters collect the tusk and reaches the queen where they narrates the whole story to her how they were donated the tusk. This made the queen run to the forest to repay for her misdeed. This whole story talks about two core Buddhist philosophies non-violence and self-sacrifice. The ceiling paintings of cave number 17 were extremely rich with the use of mica in it to produce the shine whenever light rays fall. Hence, here the lips, necklace, eyebrows all shine due to use of mica. Let's move towards cave number 19. This cave, cave number 19, is considered as the last complete cave. Water seeping marks are still available to see, and again, due to the debris occupying the entrance, we don't know how long water kept stagnated in the caves. Stupa with the statue shows that they were image worshippers. On top, the three Sunamrita, they represent the three jewel principle Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. After 50 years of this cave, most probably the work stopped, the artisans left the place, and the monks went from here. So we don't have any record of human existence other than the tribals from the 7th to 19th century. Now let's move towards cave number 26. Other than this, all the other caves left are either distorted or are incomplete caves. Cave number 26 is also a worship hall similar to cave number 19, though it is much larger in size and almost 70% complete. The 24-foot sleeping Buddha statue is the major artistic work of this cave. This statue depicts Buddha in his last moments of life on earth, that is, before entering nirvana.
now we are finally going back to the parking area and we'll have some lunch over there because it actually took us around 4 to 5 hours to completely look at all those caves which were available. So yeah, let's just go.